Are you hiding the fact that you have COVID-19? Or are you suffering from depression due to the coronavirus isolation, but just don't want to admit it? Psychologists will tell you you're not alone. Just ask Dr. Jeff Gardier, who joins us every night to discuss the psychological impact of this pandemic. Let's jump right in and talk about what I think are really two distinct sides of people who don't want to admit they have COVID-19. On one hand, most people are not going to have many symptoms. And with all the fear you have out there, I can kind of understand why somebody might not want to come out right now and say they've got it.
I think especially there may be a stigma to that, and people don't want to be seen as the infected. I think there's another part of that too, and that's simply that some of the people I've worked with, Bill, they don't want their family to have to worry about them. So they feel that they have to tough it out themselves, which I totally understand, but it's important that they have a lifeline, someone at least who knows what's going on in their lives in case they need a quicker intervention.
It's interesting, Doc, right? If you look at some of what the epidemiologists were saying in January and February, it's very likely millions of people had no idea.
So when you go back to this idea of the stigma, just know that in other countries, people who've already had the virus and passed it and may have the antibodies, those people are actually going to have more status than people who didn't have it.
Doc, let's move on to people who are suffering some depression from being isolated, especially those folks who may have been a little down in the dumps before this happened.
This is so important that, yes, we are experiencing a lot of anxiety and depression, but you don't help yourself and actually may in some ways lower your own emotional immune system by not being able to reach out to other people, especially during social isolation and self-quarantining.
How do you tell someone to balance it? Because especially if you are isolated, you can always look at it, and I'm sure some people do, that other folks have it worse. You know, maybe they've got someone who is critically ill in their family.
I think your point is absolutely excellent. Look outside of yourself. Look outside of your own troubles, because as bad as you may be experiencing this COVID-19 emotionally, there are people who are experiencing it much worse. And therefore, extend yourself by being able to volunteer to help others, even if it's by telephone or social platform, but stay connected and share empowerment strategies, because it will get better. No matter how bad it looks now, it will get better.
It always does, Doc. Thank you for the continued positive outlook on what's happening around us. Appreciate you. See you tomorrow.